Hey guys, today I want to talk about something very important in trading, and that is simplicity and what I do to keep things as simple as possible. We all have a tendency, I think, as human beings to overcomplicate things. I mean, I do as well. I'm not completely innocent of that. But one thing that I've found that helps me is when I'm bullish on a market, which clearly I'm bullish on NASDAQ right now. So what I do is I repeat this phrase in my head at the beginning of each day. And it's something I learned from Stacy Burke, which is basically, and I'm sure people have said many similar phrases before, so it's not totally unique, but basically when I'm bullish, I'm looking to buy at or near the low of the week. If I can't buy at or near the low of the week, I'm looking to buy at or near the low of the day. And if I can't buy at or near the low of the day, I'm looking to buy at or near the low of the session. And just that little focus point I've found really helps with patience. And I'm going to show some trades I took today. And very simply, let's start here on the daily chart. We can see that after yesterday, we pushed up off of this imbalance. Tuesday has formed the current low of the week. Monday has the high of the week. And typically when Monday and Tuesday have formed, usually one of these two extremes tends to hold for the remainder of the week. Not always, but often that is the case. And so knowing that we're bullish and we're off of this kind of key point of interest area, it seems more likely that Tuesday would be the low of the week rather than Monday being the high of the week. It seems like we're eventually going to take this out. In fact, we might have already. Nope, it looks like we're still beneath it. But anyway, clearly we're pushing up. We're bullish after yesterday's close. And so today, all I'm looking to do is buy at or near the low of the day. Now, how do we do that? Well, we start for me by just kind of looking at some basic levels. We can see that we have the open or the high from the previous day. After engulfing above, these are just sort of general areas of where I'd be looking. But we really have no idea until we see how things unfold at the time of the session. For me, I tend not to trade before New York. We can see that at the time of New York, this is the 930 candle, we're kind of stuck in no man's land right here. So for me, there is really no high probability trade at this point in time. But I do know that where the low of the day is, it's right here. This is the current low of the day. And the current high of the day is this Asia high. So I have a high of a day and I have a low of the day. Where am I looking to buy? I'm looking to buy at or near the low of the day. But I'm not going to just buy this level outright because I don't know if this is going to break down or not. So, I have some key levels here where I think price can react from. But I also know that, let's say on the 8 hour, we have this inversion right here. And so, yes, this helps me support my bias, but I don't know if price is going to tap into it or not. It might not. But I do know that this is the low of the day. So I want to see how price behaves at the low of the day. And so after kind of ranging around a bit, again, I'm not saying these aren't tradable moves. I'm not saying you can't short. But for me, to keep things truly simple, when I'm bullish, I'm looking to just buy the low of the day. And I want to see what happens when we break through this level. Because as you probably know, I like to trade inversions. It's my favorite entry technique. And what I see here is we form this bearish imbalance right here. And I don't know if we're going to hit this and go lower, as I said, even though I think there's good reason for it to reverse here based on what I was seeing on the 15-minute chart. But for me, let me just turn on the executions just to show what I'm looking at here. I guess I didn't enter until the next candle. Why aren't my executions showing? Let's see. Maybe I have to do this. Okay. I guess I can't do it in replay mode. So here are the executions for this trade that I took. So once we see this candle and we invert this, and I'm looking also at volume, And I can see that the high volume candles are down here with the point of control. So again, if we were bearish, I would expect to be respecting this and moving lower. But instead, sellers, I think, are trapped here at the low of the day. And so now I believe that this is the new low of the day based on how we reacted off of the current low of the day. Again, when I'm bullish, I'm trying to buy at or near the low of the day. I'm not going to guess that this is the low of the day. But once I see this, I'm going to assume that the low of the day, as of now, is intact until we hit higher prices. I don't know, maybe it goes lower later in the day again after going higher. But I think it's going to go higher first. What I did here today is I entered here, and I made actually a little bit of an error, regrettably, is, I entered here, and then this was just taking a lot of time. It was coiling, which, if you notice, I have the moving averages, the cloud here, and it's actually something I've noticed a lot with these coils is like this is actually a good sign when it coils inside these EMAs, because it usually means it's going to eventually break out. It's basically a bull flag. So impulse, consolidation, impulse is the kind of pattern. But for me, this kind of took a little bit too long, and I moved my stop to break even a little too early, and I got taken out. But I was okay with that because I knew that what was in the way was there was a 2-minute gap right here. And so I just figured I would enter after this got broken through. And I also saw the volume on this candle from 9:30. This is like the highest volume candle of the day. And so seeing that the point of control is up here and my entry is down here, I took 2 positions on this because I figured, okay, there's a very good chance we draw back up at least to this level. I took half of my position off after 20 points. So about 20 points right here to this high. And then I held the rest up till here, at which point on the 1-minute chart, I saw this inside wick pattern off of this imbalance. And so I just figured, okay, I'll lock in the profits. I'll be happy. Inside wick, and then we engulfed down. And then I got out. But then I did get back in for, not a great reason. Honestly, it was there was a 30-second imbalance that got flipped here. I just thought, hey, if this goes straight up, then I'll be in this. But once it kind of hesitated here, I just closed it because, again, we're in this resistance. I thought it was going to go higher, and it eventually did. But again, it can take an unpredictable path, and I didn't want to just kind of hold on to it. It was a good trade off of my level. This was what I had planned out at the start of the session. So again, I'm just keeping it simple, trying to buy the low of the day when I'm bullish, at or near the low of the day. There was another trade here towards the end of the day that I took as well. But again, we don't have to really break this one down. It's basically we're showing willingness to go higher after forming the low of the day. We have this imbalance here. We come up. We're not quite trading into this high, very shallow run. And when I saw this kind of raid here on the 2-minute, I was seeing this imbalance that we pushed through. Again, keeping it simple. Part of keeping it simple is just kind of have the same entry technique. And the volume of this, which I'm, again, still kind of using as just a confluence, was up here this time. And so I really wanted to just make sure that this was holding, and it was holding. I was really aiming for these highs, but again, I'm expecting this to kind of move more quickly, but this was just very lethargic in how it moved. And so I just closed for 10 points or so on this candle, but really had no reason to close after this engulfing, and we're just kind of riding this trend higher. So again, that's just what today was like. Not every day is that picture perfect, but yesterday was about trying to buy the low of the week, at or near the low of the week. So I'm really not looking to short. I'm really just looking for buys. And we can see that at the time of New York session, this is the 9 a.m. candle. This is the current low, and this was the current high of the day. And so I'm trying to buy at or near the low of the day. I'm not trying to really buy in the middle. So once we hit this low down here, I can see that we have a down day in a bullish market. This is our closing price. So if you know how I look at kind of trap volume and the power of the daily close, I look to this as a support level. So even though we deviate it, I'm still thinking that on the higher time frame, this is going to be some sort of wick. You can see it more cleanly on the 3 hour. So we have this consolidation into the close. This is where I believe sellers are likely selling too low. And buyers kind of are stepping in right here. We're respecting the lows of these up close candles. And so I'm not going to time perfectly the buy of the low of the week, but this is the low of the week. And I want to buy at or near the low of the week when I'm bullish. And so on this close, I bought. Price pulls back, makes a higher high. At that point, I'm moving my stop to this low. And I got taken out for a loss here. A smaller loss than I would have if I had kept it. Actually, I think I had it below here. I probably would have stayed in and not been taken out, but I was happy to get taken out with this small loss. I see that price reacts off of this newly formed demand structure. And then we flip this imbalance right here. So this was my entry. Notice this yellow line is that low of day. As price has the stop under the low of the day, it has this kind of head and shoulders reversal pattern. We invert this after failing to go lower. So we have a low, we have this higher high, and we fail to make a lower low. So this becomes a higher low, inversion, and a great entry right here to take to the long side. So again, just a simple approach. I'm not trying to catch every move. I'm really not even trying to short, but I just wanted to illustrate kind of a mindset that I've found helpful, which is when I'm bullish, I want to buy at or near the low of the week. If I can't buy at or near the low of the week, I want to buy at or near the low of the day. And if I can't buy at or near the low of the day, like if London has made the low of the day and we have a very nice impulsive move higher, then I'm just trying to buy the session low of New York, maybe off of a fair value gap or something like that. So again, hope that is helpful, and hope you guys have a great day.